Hey everybody, Melissa Sorrentino here, and I want to talk today about taking care of ourselves. I want to talk about that in terms of life itself and in terms of improv. What works in improv tends to work very well in life, and what works in life really tends to translate into your improv. Sometimes the hang-ups that we have on stage are actually sort of as if we have a magnifying glass over really personal things, if we haven't triumphed over certain, coping mechanisms and issues and hang-ups and all that kind of crap, it actually reads into how we play on stage in improv. And part of what makes art so freaking scary is that we're exposing ourselves. But that's also what makes it enticing and intriguing. So if we're not ready to show those vulnerabilities, then it's very hard for us to really be expressive enough to get our art to a place where it evokes emotion. And that is, in my opinion, one of the things that it's really all about is for us to connect as human beings and for us to share that connection with the emotions that, some gal is on stage and she's going through something and you're like, oh my God, I've so gone through that before. Whether you're a performer yourself or just a human being, you're going to be affected by that. So that's why I think all this stuff is important. Okay, so taking care of ourselves in life. There are a couple of reasons why I think we don't take care of ourselves. We're good people. We really are. Even bad people are so much more close to good people than I think a lot of us realize. It just gets wonky. And sometimes it gets so wonky that it really, flips all the way into like evilness. But selfishness is something that we associate with being bad. Like, you're selfish is usually not a compliment. We're not like, good for you, you're selfish. We might use a word like, good for you, you're taking care of yourself, but we won't say, good for you, you're selfish. Well, aren't those two dangerously close to each other? How do you go from taking care of yourself and know that you're not flipping into like selfish? So it's possibly a thin line. And if we're going to walk on a thin line and we're wide and we make mistakes, we're going to nudge into not taking as good of care of ourselves because we're trying to stay away from being selfish. And we're going to bump into being selfish for a little bit and then having to actually apologize and say, that actually was selfish of me. But, 5 years ago on a Tuesday, I took shit for that. And now I'm, erring on this direction for something personal. We need to take care of ourselves, though. Ultimately, it is super duper important. And I want to sort of reframe that with this phrase. Taking care of ourselves is one of the most selfless things we can do. Really digest that. Taking care of ourselves is one of the most selfless things we can do. And let's just go right to the first thing that I just brought up. If you take care of yourself, you risk giving the appearance of being selfish. And that is a very vulnerable place to put yourself in. Isn't it very self-protective to be like, I'm not selfish, I'm not selfish, I'm not selfish, I'll get up at 2 a.m. and bake brownies for anybody that asks me to. I'm not selfish. And then we're actually trying to front that we're selfless, and it's a front because there are things that occur, such as resentment later, or the very worst end of the line of that, of being too selfless, is that you become helpless. And if you let yourself get to so selfless that you become helpless, then you get in a position where other people have to help you or basically let you die. And that is not selfless. And the only reason, even though I know that might sound terribly, terribly mean to people, is because I know what I'm talking about because I have been there. And when you let yourself become so focused on helping other people, you will lose yourself, and you cannot do that. It is not ultimately selfish. I'm not saying not taking your, or whatever, the opposite of what I'm saying. But I'm saying taking care of, if you're a person who errs on the side of being selfless and you pride yourself in that, it's very possible that you are going to, like, that phrase is going to help you because I want to gift that to you. None of us wants to think we're being selfish. And a lot of us think that normal things are selfish. Some people think getting up in the morning and taking a shower and putting on makeup and doing your hair is selfish. I mean, God bless my mother, but there were times when I was like doing very normal, take care of myself things, and she would accuse me of being selfish for doing them. And I was like, I'm sorry, no, I need to, like, get presentable for the day. I wasn't some glamazon. I mean, clearly, I was just really just bordering on average. But, in that particular situation, it might be maybe she didn't have time to do that day. Maybe she, got up late or whatever and didn't put on a face or anything. But, it's just different people are different. But she was in a different situation and era in her life. I've had days where I've got to, take care of business and, look like shit and leave the house. I've had years where I went through that type of lifestyle. But that was not healthy for me. It's important to get up and get dressed and, put on clothes, not go in your pajamas all the way till 8 p.m. There's nobody that's going to think it's selfish of you to remove your pajamas and put clothes on. And if somebody puts you in that position, they are fucked up, and you should not listen to fucked up people. That is very important. So taking care of ourselves is something that's totally vital because we cannot pour. I can't pour anything out of this mug if it's empty. I gotta fill this mug up. And since I did, I'll take a sip. How selfish of me. Okay, I think I've made my point. I had other bullet points to cover, but I'm trying to keep these shorter. And I really think if, inside of 8 minutes, you get it. Taking care of yourself is one of the most selfless things you can do. Let your cup fill, run over, and then be good for other people. All right? Talk to you guys later. Bye.